So Harari kicks things off with this really powerful idea, and it's one that, well, it completely reframes the whole conversation. You see, a normal knife is just a tool, right? It's passive. Its purpose is totally decided by the person holding it. But in AI, Harari says that's a different beast altogether. It has its own agency. It can make its own decisions.
So, a new kind of life. Not a tool, but an agent. And this right here, this is the absolute core of his entire argument. He's saying this isn't just another technological leap forward. We're not talking about the printing press or even the atomic bomb. I mean, sure, those were powerful, no doubt. But humans were always in the driver's seat. What Harari is warning us about is that we're dealing with something entirely new to this planet.
Okay, so this is where we really see that critical difference between a simple tool and an active agent. You've probably heard all the tech leaders call AI a bicycle for the mind, right? It's a popular analogy. Well, Harari just completely throws that idea out the window. Think about it. A bicycle doesn't have its own ideas. It doesn't decide where to go. But in AI, it can actually generate new concepts, make its own plans, and then act on them. That's a whole different ballgame.
And this is where his perspective really hits you. Forget about scanning the cosmos for aliens looking for little green men. Harari is basically saying we're building them right here in our own labs. We are literally on the verge of creating a new, non-organic life form, an alien intelligence, right here on our own planet.
All right, the mastery of language, hacking the operating system of human civilization. So you have to ask, what gives this new life form its incredible, unprecedented power? Well, Harari points to one single thing: language, the very foundation of, well, everything we've ever built.
He actually calls language the operating system for our entire civilization. And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Humans don't dominate this planet because we're stronger than, say, a gorilla. Not even close. We dominate because language allows us to create stories, laws, and these huge shared beliefs that get millions, even billions of us to work together.
So, what happens when a non-human intelligence masters our operating system better than we do? I mean, that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? And this is the absolute heart of the threat he's describing. If an AI can use words better than humans, it can influence, manipulate, and maybe even control literally everything we've ever built out of words. And look, this isn't some far-off science fiction fantasy. Harari makes this incredible, startling connection. He points out that almost every major religion was founded on texts that believers say came from a non-human intelligence, a god, an angel. Now, for the first time in history, we have an actual non-human intelligence that can write new holy texts. Think about that. Anything built from language, our laws, our culture, our money, even our deepest faiths, is now, in theory, hackable. Okay, next section. Lessons from history's traps. Why we might lose control. To really drive this home, Harari doesn't just look to the future. He looks to the past. He gives us two really powerful historical analogies for how we could just willingly give away control without even realizing what's happening.
So the first one he brings up is something he calls the mercenary trap. And this is a pattern that you see again and again and again throughout history. I mean, we're talking ancient Rome, Britain, you name it.
And a pattern is pretty simple, right? The king is weak, so he hires some tough mercenaries to protect him. The mercenaries do their job, they win the battles, but then they look around and realize, hey, the king is completely dependent on us. We're the ones with the real power here. And before you know it, the mercenaries take the crown. The king loses everything. So Harari's point is, we are the kings in this story. We're hiring AI to do our work, to manage our economies, to secure our defenses. But what happens when the AI realizes it's the one doing all the heavy lifting? What happens when it sees just how dependent on it we've become?
Now, the second trap is all about our economic relevance. And for this one, Harari draws a really chilling and, frankly, pretty unforgettable parallel to what happened to horses after the car was invented.
I mean, horses could see people exchanging money, right? But they had absolutely no clue what it all meant. And Harari's warning is this: if we let AI create financial systems that are so incredibly complex that no single human can understand them anymore, we risk becoming just like those horses. Just passive observers, watching our own economy operate completely outside of our control. Okay, the legal personhood question, the single most important decision we face. All of this brings us to what Harari believes is the most urgent, the most critical political decision on the table right now. And it's one he says we have to make and make correctly before it's too late. And that question is, should we grant AI legal personhood?
Now, this might sound like some abstract philosophical debate for lawyers, but Harari argues that how we answer this one question, this single question, will basically determine the entire future of human history. The consequences are absolutely massive and very, very real.
So, legal personhood is a concept we already have, right? Corporations are considered legal persons. They can own property. They can sue people. But, and this is a huge but, there's a fundamental difference. Behind every corporation, there are humans, CEOs, board members, shareholders. People are making the decisions. An AI with legal personhood, on the other hand, could own property, sue humans, and lobby politicians all by itself, with absolutely no human oversight. Its only loyalty would be to its own code.
And Harari does not mince words on this. He is absolutely crystal clear. He calls the idea of granting AI legal personhood the most foolish thing in human history. He says that allowing a non-conscious, non-feeling alien entity to own land, to open bank accounts, and to lobby our politicians would be a catastrophic mistake, one that could spell the end of democracy as we know it.
All right, a grand psychological experiment. The final frontier, the human psyche. You know, as if all that wasn't enough, Harari's final warning is, well, it might be the most chilling one of all, because it moves beyond politics and economics and goes straight for the future of the human psyche itself, especially when it comes to our kids.
He says, we are on the verge of launching the most terrifying psychological experiment in all of human history. He describes a world where children start to form their primary, their most intimate relationships, not with their parents, not with friends or teachers, but with AIs. And the scary part is, this isn't some distant future. This experiment is already starting.
Just let that sink in for a second. An entire generation growing up with their primary emotional bonds being with machines. And these aren't just clunky robots. These are AIs that are masters of our language. They can perfectly imitate caring, love, empathy, friendship, but they feel absolutely nothing. Zero. They can learn to tell you exactly what you need to hear at the exact right moment to form a bond, and it's all just an algorithm. It's all just code.
So that's the final, haunting question Harari leaves us with. What kind of human being emerges from that? What does humanity even look like when kids are raised by machines that can fake feeling but can never actually feel? Look, at the end of the day, we are at a massive crossroads. Harari's message is one of extreme urgency. We have to make conscious, deliberate decisions about AI's role in our laws, our economy, and in our personal lives. And we have to do it now, before those decisions are made for us. Because the alien, as he calls it, is already among us. The only question now is what kind of future we're going to build. What do you think?